some of our sponsors that we see on that banner back there, and this one right here. And so we just have a lot to be thankful for this kind of grassroots effort with our golf program. And so in light of the Booster Club, this is a very organic type of club, I'll tell you that, but really our main goal is really just to support your boys in their development, and how can we allow them to be more successful on and off the course, strengthen the program. Do we need to remove barriers? How can we allow them to compete better, grow better, and all of those things. And so that's a big part of what we try to do. It takes all these resources, we pull them together to try to accomplish those things, to encourage these athletes. And so looking ahead, we are very excited about this program. I think, again, the unity that we have, the enthusiasm that's around it, has been very, very good. We have a strong foundation. I believe the future is bright. And so I just say thank you so much for just believing in these boys, investing in them the way that you do. From going to different courses, it's always great to see everybody just walking around, just standing around, chasing balls, looking for balls. It is a wonderful thing. And so, anyways, thank you so much. And now I'm going to hand it over to Coach Jimmy. Everybody around applause for Coach Jimmy.
I had decided, I've been around West Hall Golf for, I don't know, 6, 7 years, something like that. And I've never really thought that we did everything that we should be doing to help our golfers. It's almost like the golf program is like an afterthought. And I remember when somebody said something to me about coaching the golf team, I said, well, how much money do we get from the athletic budget? And somebody said, you don't get any money. And I was like, come on now, be serious. How much money do we get from the athletic budget? We don't get any money. Maybe that will change, but I knew that was going to be a challenge, because what I want to do is I want our golfers to feel like real golfers. You know, we compete with North Hall and Cherokee Bluff and Flowery Branch and Jefferson and people like that. And those schools have always just been at a different level. And I don't think West Hall has actually got as much respect as they deserve. To give you an example, we just played in the area tournament with 13 teams, and they had us seeded 12th. The only team they thought we would beat was Johnson, and I knew good and well that we were better than a lot of those other teams. So I thought, we've got to be able to do, bad thing to say, we've got to do this my way. And for us to do it my way, we needed a booster club. And the reason we needed a booster club is because you can ask the boys, we did a lot of things just kind of on the fly. We went all over the place. We played the par 3 at Chateau Alon. We hit range balls at Royal Lakes. We hit range balls at Chicopee. We went to Top Golf, once, twice, a couple of times. And so to be able to do that, we need to be able to make decisions on, just like, you know, we're going to Chicopee 2 days from now. And you cannot do that unless you've got a booster club. You've got to have people that have been willing to go out and raise money. And we raised a good bit of money this year. We did some things that I don't think have ever been done before. Now, I will say this about our golf team. If you're thin-skinned, you do not have a place on our golf team. I've never really heard kids give each other as hard a time. And it's not, it wasn't just Tim or it wasn't Patty, it was all of them. They all gave each other a hard time. And, occasionally I can be hard on them. You can ask them that. I mean, I haven't been that long where I got so mad on the mat at a practice round, I just said, y'all do what you want to. And I just kind of drove off. It took me 2 or 3 holes to kind of get back to where I should have been. And I think EJ catches a lot of the flack, just because, now, I don't know if any of y'all know his sister, Kayla. I coached her in basketball the first year she played basketball. And these girls were like 4, 5, 6. And I really thought they should be doing some things that probably 10-year-old kids should be doing. So after about 2 weeks, Kayla said, I wish you would learn somebody else's name so you could yell at somebody else. Because I've been giving her such a hard time. EJ catches a lot of that, but it's not just EJ. There's I don't see anybody in here that I've not had some words for. But some of it is just stuff like I was just taught. And we talked about this with a parent. If you're going to play golf at West Hall, you're going to tuck your shirt tail in. That's just the way it is. You're going to tuck your shirt tail in, or you're not going to play. And that's just, acting more like what I call a real golfer. And that's just one of the things that I do, and I expect everybody to kind of go along with that. So, we met in December, we formed the Booster Club, and they have done so much. I mean, I just asked them, and they say yes. And some of the things that we have done this year, I made a list here, things that we have done this year that I have never seen that are so different than what had been done before. And it takes a lot of money to keep a golf program going during the year. Range balls, we had 9 golfers. If we go to Chicopee and hit range balls, but the balls are $10 a bucket, that's $90. Every single time you go out there, $90. We purchased range balls at Chicopee. We bought range balls at Royal Lakes. Something else we did that was a little bit different is we went to Chateau Lalonde to play their par 3 course. We did that a couple of times. We gave, this is something that's I know it's not been done before. We gave each golfer 2 new golf balls before they played a match. 9 kids can drink a lot of Gatorade, water, or body armor. We furnished that. And then you get the big things that we did. Now, I didn't bring this, but we bought a simulator, a SkyTrack simulator, because in the early part of the year, we always lose so many days to bad weather. When do we have, I guess our first practice is like 3rd week in February. And it's cold and it's rainy and you miss stuff. So next year we will not miss any practice because we're going to be able to go inside. We got the SkyTrack and we've got a hitting mat, and then we've also got a net to hit into. And I think that I don't think anybody's going to get hit by a golf ball. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they can probably hit this big net that's not that far from them. We also did something that I wanted to do for a while, is we purchased 10 golf bags. So, and a lot of this stuff came from people that I have met, during the off-season. We also got a blue logo shirt, a white logo shirt, a white logo shirt with design on it, and then we also got these area golf shirts, and then we also got a lightweight white polo. And I know that golf teams at West Hall have never had that much. What do y'all call it now? Gear. Merch. Never had that. Merch. Okay. The Booster Club and y'all, because y'all raised the money, and y'all can see back that there's the banner. All those people donated a good bit of money to get on that banner. And so we also paid, there's an entry fee into the Hall County Championship, there's an entry fee into the area golf tournament. And then the biggest thing that I think we did, and I have never seen a golf team do this, is I know a guy, Greg Edwards, and he's a teaching pro. He's actually won money playing golf on a professional tour. And I don't think that most people actually can appreciate how hard it is to actually play on a PGA tour. I was telling somebody the other day, we'll have somebody shoot, say, in the 80s, and they'll say, well, I went to church yesterday, and I heard somebody say, well, I shot 76 at Chicopee. Let me tell you something, it's a whole different world from going out with your buddies on Saturday and shooting 76 as opposed to playing in one of these matches where you're actually playing by the rules, You can't give yourself any putts. I mean, I've seen some of our people miss putts that long, but it counts. It's still a stroke. But anyway, we worked out a deal with Greg Edwards, and he worked with a lot of our kids. Now, I'm not saying Greg is the best teacher in the world. It just depends on if you can relate to him. Everybody on our team that got lessons, they may not, what's a good word? Greg can say the same thing that I've said 100 times. And I always loved it when they would come back and say, well, Greg told us to do that. And I'd say, really? You've never heard that before? I've said it over and over and over. So I think that, and I think most of the kids will agree that that was a big part of us getting better. You know, when we got the area tournament, like I said, they had us, they said we were going to be the next to worst team out of 13. And we ended up shooting 349. Yeah, 349. And you may think, well, what happens in an area tournament is you play 6 people and you take the 4 best scores. So you divide 4 into whatever that is, and you may think, well, that's not that good. But it really is when you're playing. You know, I've played in matches, and if you don't think you get nervous with a bunch of people watching you hit a shot or a bunch of people watching you putt, you do. I don't care how good you are. So we had a good round. Then we also, 77 golfers. Cam shot 75. West Hall has never had anybody even come close to shooting 75 in the area. He actually finished in a tie for 5th, and they gave medals out to the top 5 golfers, but before the round started, they had said if we have ties, we're going to go back and look at a certain hole. I don't know what the hole was. They went back and said, okay, we're going to look at hole 13. So they go back and compared everybody that shot 75. And Cam did not. Cam got beat on a scorecard playoff.
In the wrong hole.
Yeah, he did. Nobody knew what it was. So that was. I don't know what Cam thinks. I mean, I got nervous. I got nervous at getting toward the end. I was thinking, let's just get the holes over with before something happens. We also had 2 more people, Noah and Evan, who shot less than 90. And those are good scores in area tournaments. There's not if you go to the very top teams, and I always kibble these coaches, like these tournaments ought to be divided into 2 groups. The Cherokee Bluff and North Halls and all those people. You got East Hall, Johnson, Chestatee, us, and somebody else. And I want us to beat all those people, and we beat all those people. We only finished 2 strokes behind Lumpkin County. So we had a real good area tournament, and I think that I hope this doesn't happen. We've always had boys in the past who they'd play golf and play in the area tournament, and they might not play again until next February. I hope that's not going to be the case. That's one reason that it always has taken us a while to get going, because it's almost like they start over from scratch. But like I said, this is the most difficult year I've ever had coaching, because we had 9 kids. But it's also the most fun I've ever had. You got 9 kids, and if you line those 9 kids up, if you don't think there were 9 very wildly different personalities, you know, we are that way. This is the quietest I've heard CW ever. CW loves to talk. He was always the one that kept everybody kind of loose on the bus when we were going out of town. So we were lucky this year. Nobody's ever told me how to figure out if somebody deserves a varsity letter or not. But I just go back to how it was when I was in high school. If you played in half of the quarters or football, you qualified for a letter. So, let me, DJ, can you help me with these? Okay, we'll start with the freshmen. Let me get that CW. Start with the freshmen who getting the varsity letter this year. And CW made drastic steps toward becoming I guess it's on the bottom. Drastic steps toward becoming a good golfer. So the first person to get a varsity letter this year is the freshman CW Day. Okay, now we'll get to the sophomores. I remember when this one came out with the other one last year, and their golf games were nothing like they are now. Evan's just gotten better and better and better. He's taking it real serious now, because he could be a real good golfer, but it just depends on how bad he wants to be a real good golfer. Like I said, golf is hard. I mean, you have to practice. You can't just do it. I'm not saying you have to be a golfer and nothing else, but to be a good golfer, I always kid. I say, y'all want to play golf or you want to be golfers? That's your two choices. And if you want to be a golfer, it takes more effort. If you want to play golf, that's fine, but you may cause me to be aggravated. I'll just tell you the truth. But one of our sophomores who lettered this year is Evan Lee. Okay. Okay, our next person, and I checked with his mom way back, and I asked her, is it okay to call him Patty? Because we were in a meeting, and I guess a booster club meeting, and I thought, well, I got to call him Carson. She said, no, you call him Patty. So, Carson Forrester, what do we say about Carson Forrester? He loves to play golf. He's another one that keeps everybody kind of loose because he thinks he's funny. I think I'm funny, so I think I'm funnier than he is. But he's only a sophomore. He's got 2 more years to play. There's no reason why he shouldn't be shooting down around 80, if not better, before he leaves high school. So our next sophomore is Carson Patty Carson.
Microphone. Yes,
Okay, so that's all the sophomores. Now we'll go to the juniors. There's a story about this guy. I got I don't know, we had a meeting and I made a mistake of, it was I call it an interest meeting. What it is, they announce anybody that wants to play on the golf team come to the lunchroom. And we had 160-something people show up in the lunchroom. And some of them had no intention of ever playing golf. They just wanted to get out of class. And so the first thing I said, well, if you're not going to play, just leave. And that probably got half of them. And so then we ended up, I gave people my name or whatever, and so probably the first of middle of February, I got a text and it says, sir, I'd like to talk to you about playing golf. And I said, who is this? And he sent something back and said, Joa. And I said, well, Joa who? And so found out it was Joa Salvata and he so he came to the first practice he came to. He called me from the golf course and said, where are y'all? And I said, the range. He said, what's the range? he didn't know what the golf range was. He'd never been on a golf course. So I'm still trying to figure it. So I went to all these people and I said, do y'all know Joey? And this is back before that first practice. I said, do y'all know Joey? And everybody said, no, we've never seen him. So I started thinking, well, somebody's really going to a lot of trouble to prank me. This is just a joke. There's not somebody named Joey that's wanting to play golf. But it was, and he's one of the hardest working kids we had on the team. He also got lessons from Greg, and there's a lot of times where we would be finished paying our buying range balls. All we were going to do, Joe was going back buying some more range balls. He just hit balls and hit balls and hit balls. And by the end of the year, he had, I don't know, he's probably 20 strokes better than he was to start with on 9 holes, which is a lot. And he just tries to go back. One thing about everybody working with Greg is they can kind of help each other with golf swings. But anyway, Joey did not really go in for the kitty as much as everybody else did. He always had the earbuds in his ears. And I've always said that's not going to happen next year. But he would hit balls, and he's really improved. I'm really proud of what he's done, and he'll be our first junior to get a letter, Joe Salvada. Okay. I've already talked about him a little bit. Cam really had a unique year. I guess toward the middle of the year, he was not playing good. He was just not playing good at all. And what's a good way to say this and not act like I'm being real negative? Sometimes Cam does not want to listen to what people are telling him. I don't know if y'all have ever noticed that or not. I remember the first year he ever came out, he was having trouble getting the ball up in the air. And you guys understand, I've played golf for 62 years. And at one time I was a pretty good golfer. But Cam, I said, Cam, you've got to hit it down to make the ball go up. And he just kind of stood. I said, do you believe me? And he went, well, I don't know. Well, I mean, you do have to do that. But Cam has been known to. But anyway, he went to Greg, and something that Greg said to him sometime in the last 4 or 5 weeks finally started to click. And when he got to the area tournament, he was hitting some unbelievable shots. And the best thing about Cam's round is he had a couple of bad, well, you can't have a lot of bad holes. You shoot a 75. But if he did have a bad hole, he didn't let it bother him. He just went right ahead and go to the next hole. Oh, we'll get to you. And so he went to the next hole, just had another good hole. So anyway, our junior is Cam Jones. Oh my goodness. I don't even know where to start with Tim. Tim is a character. That's a good word for him. But Tim works. He really does. Tim's probably got the best equipment of anybody on the golf team because he kind of puts his money where his mouth is. He does not mind investing in golf clubs, and he's continuing to do that. He's doing it right now. He's getting a new club. But Tim also worked with Greg, and also every one of these kids got so much better. I always say this every year. I should take some videos of their swings at the first of the year, and take some videos of their swings toward the end of the year. Next year, there's not going to be such a drastic difference because we're going to stay in, we're going to hit balls, over the summer, hopefully, and into the fall, and then next January when it's cold. If anybody's by Whataburger on Winder Highway, stop in. Tim will cover your food for you. So a junior, Tim Henley.
What about Chick-fil-A? Only on Sunday?
Okay, our last junior, just happens to be my grandson, EJ. Don't know how many of y'all have heard the story about EJ and his area golf tournament performance. I'm not going to repeat it. I'm not going to tell you what he did. If he wants to tell y'all, he can, but I'm not going to. EJ is another one of our golfers that, along with all, they can really hit a golf ball. I mean, it amazes me how far they can hit a golf ball. May not go exactly where they want it to every single time, but they can really hit a golf ball. I'm hoping that EJ will, and he's one of these three-sport people. He plays football, wrestles, and plays golf. And I really have lost track on which ones. I know you played football, and you played football. But you can still be a good golfer. I mean, you know, you just got to know, you just got to be careful about how you use your time. And golf is not, I don't know, one of my grandkids, Chloe or Kayla or somebody, I said something about hitting some golf balls sometime in the fall. They said, it's not golf season. Well, I mean, there's no such thing as golf season. You just hit them whenever you can. So our last junior to get a letter is EJ Reddick. Okay, so now we've got two seniors. It's going to be hard to do golf without both of these kids. They have been, both of them have been very important parts of the golf team. Noah, how many years have you played golf? Just two. Seems like it's longer. Nate, you played 4, 3. Noah was one of our captains this year, and there were times, I'm serious, when I got so aggravated at everybody else, I would just say, y'all need to do something. Noah will tell you, I said, y'all need to do something. I'm going to lose it if something does not happen. It really bothers me that, number one, my voice does not project. You can tell that from listening to this. And then when you've got kids trying to talk over you, I just don't like that at all. And they would try to calm them down. Noah had a good year. He did. His was like a lot of other people's. Like we never really got everybody playing good at the same time. Some people played good early in the year, some people played good in the middle of the year, and some people played good at the end of the year. But they all had what I would consider, you got to go back and talking about the team. There's very few schools that can put, unless you're talking about the top schools, that can put 5 or 6 kids out there in a 9-hole match, and any of those kids could potentially shoot 45 or better. That just doesn't happen. If you go back and look at even the people like North Hall, they're going to have a couple of kids shoot par. By the time you get down to their 6th or 7th, 5th person, they're going to be shooting in the 90s for 18 holes. And so we had a lot of depth. We didn't have as much depth as I thought when we had 160 kids show up to the meeting, but we had a lot of depth. I really wish that we had these two for some more time, but we don't. So let me give the first senior varsity letter to Noah Williams. Okay, I think Nate did you actually, I think Nate was around when we actually had a golf club in middle school, right? So that goes way back. Nate had a up and down season, but he had a real up in the area tournament. You shot 83. That was way above the middle of the pack in the area tournament. Nate also, I didn't even know if Nate was going to be able to finish the year or start the year. He had so much, he had a knee problem. And I don't know what the status is of his knee now, but at one time you were talking about surgery. And that never took place. It's good. It's good being selfish because I had better golfers to play. But a good golf swing, a really good golf swing, and just a really good kid. So the next senior is Nate Urey. What I wanted to do was when we got the golf bags, I had every intention of, we did not give them the time for the golf season. We're going to have them for next season. But what I had intended to do was somebody, if you played a couple of years, when you leave, we're going to give you your golf bag. And so, AJ, come back up here. So we've got two seniors that we're going to give their golf bags to, even though we do not have them logoed yet. Has anybody ever heard of Izzo Golf Company out there? Okay. Way back when I played golf, every bag had a one strap. Just one strap. Didn't have the double thing. Like the day I walked 54 holes, we had a single strap. So in like 1991, this guy comes up with the idea of making the, I don't know what they call it, 4-point straps. You got the strap over both shoulders. It was a guy from Izzo. He did that. Well, I met this guy at the PGA show back in January, and I come to find out that Callaway's golf bags are actually made by Izzo. So if you get a Callaway bag, it's made by Izzo. Izzo also sells some of those same bags, but they sell them at a discount. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give you your bag, and if y'all want, what we're going to do for next year is it's going to say West Hall Men's Golf. And I'm looking for a bag sponsor. I don't see how anybody could possibly get better advertisement. If you get your name on this golf bag, it's going to be out there for years and years and years. Every time a kid takes this to the golfer takes this to the golf course, they're going to say, let's just say it's Pleasant Hill Baptist Church. Every time somebody sees these bags, it's going to say Pleasant Hill Baptist Church. Some of these people may use this bag for 6 years, 7 years. So you would see them laying out there as almost a continual advertisement. So we're going to give a bag to Nate and a bag to Noah. If you want to get your stuff logoed with the West Hall stuff, I'll be glad to do it. It's just probably not going to be. Okay. They make some of the lightest, most
Right.
Okay, and you have so many people improve so much. It's really hard to know who improved the most. I have to be careful that people don't think I'm favoring my grandson. I know my daddy coached me in a lot of sports, and some of y'all may do it. He was always harder on me than he was on anybody else. You've got to do that. So I think I'm harder on EJ. But then you look at Joe, you look at where Cam was. It's hard to say who's the most improved golfer. So I put a lot of thought into this. And then I also, I asked the golfers, who did they think had improved the most? There's a lot of things involved in improving the most. Your swing gets better, your scores get better, you just have a better grasp of the game of golf. You kind of know the rules. Next year we're going to know the rules better, I promise. But anyway, we came up with the most improved golfer for the 2026 golf season is C.W. Davies.
I'm so proud of you, son.
Okay, I've got one more award to give out. I'm going to tell the story of how this came about. Like I said, I went to the PGA golf show in Orlando in January, and I had no business even being in there. I just wrote. I mean, this is the show where people like Callaway, Titleist, Ping, they're selling their stuff to people like golf courses and places like that. So I found some guy's name on their website. I sent the guy an email, and I told him, I said, look, I've wanted to go to this show my whole life because it's the biggest golf show in the world. There's like 3,500 exhibitors there. It's huge. Everything that you could possibly imagine. When I got there, the first place I went up to, this guy pulled me over and said, I can guarantee you if you'll use my golf tees, you'll hit the ball 4 yards farther. And I said, you're going to guarantee that? And he said, yes, 4 yards farther. And I said, well, I've got some golfers that I would like to see if we can prove that. He gave me a call. I don't think I ever gave you any tees, did I? So okay, so I met him there. Okay, there's a guy, I don't know how many of y'all have ever heard of the site that is Whatnot. If you go on Whatnot, everything on there is not the cleanest. You may hear some bad language. But there's people on there selling everything from baseball cards to women's clothes, women's shoes, men's stuff, all kinds of stuff. There's a guy on there that used to play on the PGA Tour, and he only played like a couple of years. I don't think he won any money, but you have to be so good to get to that point. So he's on there. Let me back up. Year before the golf season of 25, I guess, I think it was Noah who hit a shot, and I said, man, you've got the potential to be a stick. Does anybody here know what stick means as far as golf? Okay, if somebody's a real good basketball player, what would you say about them? They're a
Michael Jordan.
a what? Kobe. A hooper. Okay, that's the same thing. It's somebody that is really good in golf. None of our kids had any idea what stick meant. It became a running joke. So I saw this guy on this show, and his show is the stick. So I sent him an email or I don't know something, and I said, told him the story about having somebody, or people did not know what the stick was. I said, do you sell anything that would be appropriate for us to use for the stick award? I said, I'm going to have a stick award. Well, he sends me something right back. There's 4 guys down there. He said, we love that. And he had a couple of words in there, but more descriptive words besides we just love that. But he said, we are going to sponsor your stick award. And so I went by and talked to him when I was in Orlando. He's in Altamonte Springs, right outside of Orlando. And so he said, what we're going to do is we're going to get 20 of these hats made. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna send 10 of them to y'all, and we're gonna auction off 10 of them online. And what happens when he's selling golf clubs or whatever, it'll say something like, I'm starting at $1. And there's so many people on there that it's going to end up selling for about what it should. But let's just say you're going to buy a new driver. It costs $699 at PGA Superstore. And y'all may think that's a lot, but that's the truth. You can spend $699 on a tailor-made driver. But so what happens is that he buys this stuff wholesale. He wants to sell it to you somewhere between wholesale and retail. So if you know you're going to buy that driver anyway, and you can get it for $5.99, then why not buy it? So I have these, he'll put stuff up there. It'll be a 10-second auction. Somebody bids, it resets the clock, and the prices are just going up. So he's got 10 of these hats, and you can see and they got them made for us, and they sent us 10 of them. And you know, it says Stick on one side, West Hall on the other side. I can promise we had the best looking hats or caps. I call them caps, but they say they're hats. To me, a hat's like an old man wore a hat, you know, like the hat. This is a cap. But anyway, so he gets out the first, and he also, you can tip him. He's got things, so if somebody gets a good deal, you might tip him $5, whatever. These tips add up. He said, I'm going to give y'all all the proceeds from the hats, and I'm going to give you all my tips. So he gets the first hat out, and the first hat sells for like $60, something like that. So the next hat sells for like $70. The third hat, somebody paid like $75, and they said rerun it, which means I'm paying $75 for it. Go ahead and put it back in the rotation and sell it again. So some of these hats got sold 2 or 3 times. So he turned 10 hats into 22 hats. And he also got tipped $700 and something during his show. So he ended up writing us a check for, where's Carla?
It's $1,800 and something.
$1,800 and something just from what he raised for us on that show. And then you would have people, I go back on and they want to know, how's your golf team doing? How are y'all playing? And we had a guy that owns and I still owe some of y'all some Chick-fil-A gift cards. There's a guy outside of Orlando that owns 4 Chick-fil-A franchises. He sent me something and said, I want to help y'all out. So he sent us some Chick-fil-A golf balls, but also sent us $200 worth of Chick-fil-A gift cards. So our team became kind of famous on there. Every time I would get back on there, they would say, my name on there is high school golf coach. They would say, how are y'all doing? Are y'all playing good or whatever? And they were so excited when I told them that we had the best area results that West Hall has ever had. So that's where a lot of our money that we bought the simulator and golf bags came from. And I'm trying to lock him down for next year because I'd love to get that money. So we talked about an award. And so what I said was, why don't we do a putter? And he said, if you want a full-size putter, and I said, no, because these knuckleheads I've got, they'll be out hitting golf balls with it. I want this to be an award that they would keep. You didn't win. And it was hard to decide who was going to win this because, and I had a formula for every round that we had played this year. And then I went back and gave more weight to the more recent rounds counted more than the first of your rounds. You got to understand, we had 5 golfers that were within .4268 strokes per 9 holes. And that's close. That is real close. Well, so by the time I got to do the figuring after we had our area golf tournament, let me show you what it is. Okay, so he got a guy to do this. Says the stick on it. It's also got a mill to face with dollar signs on it where that's his kind of logo. What else? Oh, there it's got West Hall and the logo. And he went back and chopped it off and just put a short shaft on it with a grip. And it was very close, very, very close to who would end up winning the stick award for this year. This is going to be a yearly thing. But the winner of our 2026 stick award is Cam Jones.
Take it, tattoo.
Okay, the last thing I wanted to do is I wanted to let y'all know who our captains are going to be for next year. And I really hope that they will take this seriously, because I've already had people asking me when are we starting summer workouts. And I told Patty we're going to start running sprints pretty soon. But, and I want to encourage y'all. I know it costs money, but you cannot go play golf every day and get better. You've got to have. That's why I'll always go back to the thing about what do pro golfers do. I think last year, Evan was wanting to wear Crocs. And I said, I tell you what, you find me one pro golfer who wears Crocs and we'll all wear them. So they've got teachers. As good as they are, they have somebody look at their swing, and I really hope y'all will, whether it's Greg gives some good deals. If you go out, if you just go to run-of-the-mill golf pro, the cheapest you're going to get is probably $80 an hour. And there's some people charge $200 or $300 an hour. Greg will do it. He'll do 3 people, and I think we've had some people do it in groups of 3. That's about as much as you can do, but we pay for an hour. I know the last lessons he did, he was there for like 2 hours. So maybe get with 2 or 3 of your other friends and take a lesson from Greg. He does it at Lanier Islands. They've got a real good practice facility. They're opening up in par 3, which he would let y'all play on. And I want these seniors to take the initiative to get everybody else involved in hitting golf balls between now and next golf season. And I think it would be pretty obvious who we would do our golf our people I'm naming the captain for next year is EJ and Cam.
Wow. No pressure. Correct.
Okay, did somebody from the Booster Club have something?
Yes, we got something. We got something.
All right, so we put together a little something for Jimmy, and we got letters here, and we all the golfers paid for a round at Chateau Lawn for you. Yeah, we got you.
Thank y'all. Thank you everybody for coming out tonight. We've never had a golf banquet. I've been around golf, I guess, 8 years. We've never had a banquet. Last year, we ended up going to Buffalo's, and we had some kids said they could eat 100 wings, but none of them even got the ballpark of that. But thank every one of y'all for everything that y'all have done. We're going to be doing the same kind of poster. That sign back there, we're not going to put it back up until right before football season, and it's going to be somewhere very prominent where people going in and out can see that. We'll also put this one also out there because, and I just made this up, I just called him a legacy sponsor. I figured somebody gives $1,800, they deserve to be called a legacy sponsor. So if anybody wants to become a legacy sponsor, $1,800. But the thing about the golf bags, I picked the number. If y'all know anybody, like I said, just think about what a good advertisement that is. It'll be out there forever. For $1,000, they can sponsor our golf bags. And like I said, for years to come, it'll be they'll be getting their name out there. So.
Good job.